If you've been following XRP for a while, you've probably asked the question every investor eventually does. How much XRP do I actually need to become a millionaire? It's a question that sounds simple, but the answer reveals much more than just numbers. Because to understand what's realistic, you have to understand what XRP truly is, where it's going, and how wealth is really built in this market. This is Crypto Equation, and today we're breaking down, with math, facts, and strategy, how much XRP you'd need to hit $1 million by 2030. Not through hype, not through luck, but through understanding. Let's get started. When most people think about crypto wealth, they imagine overnight success. One token going 100x and changing everything. But XRP isn't that kind of project. XRP isn't built on speculation, it's built on utility. It's designed to move money across the world, fast and efficiently, with regulatory clarity and institutional trust. That difference is what makes it both powerful and misunderstood. Because while meme coins explode and collapse, XRP is building infrastructure quietly behind the scenes. And that's exactly why the investors who understand timing, patience, and compounding are the ones who will end up with real wealth, not hype-driven regrets. Before we talk about becoming a millionaire, we need to talk about what's happening right now. As of October 2025, XRP trades between $2.80 and $3. It's been consolidating for months after a major recovery from its post-lawsuit lows. The SEC battle is over. Ripple paid its fine. XRP is officially not a security when traded on secondary markets. That single moment changed everything. Exchanges relisted it. Institutions reopened channels. And for the first time in years, XRP can scale globally without legal uncertainty. That's the kind of clarity that professionals, not gamblers, were waiting for. Now, the million-dollar question. How much XRP do you actually need to hit $1 million by 2030? Let's start with the math. At $3 per coin, $1 million would require roughly 333,000 XRP. At $10 per coin, which some analysts see as achievable by the end of this decade, it drops to 100,000 XRP. At $25 per coin, a very bullish but not impossible scenario, it's 40,000 XRP. And if XRP ever reached $50, that's 20,000 XRP. So your millionaire goal depends entirely on which scenario you believe is most realistic. But the truth is, even the conservative outlooks can create serious wealth. Let's dig into why. To make accurate projections, we have to anchor in data, not dreams. Ripple's network processes billions in transactions, but global adoption is still in early stages. By 2030, if XRP captures even a small fraction of cross-border settlements, say 3 to 5%, analysts project prices between $8 and $15. That's based on liquidity flows, total transaction volume, and institutional adoption curves. So let's stay realistic. Base case, $8 XRP by 2030. Bull case, $15 to $25. Moon case, 50 or more. Using those numbers, if you own 100,000 XRP today, at $3 per coin, that's a $300,000 position. At $10, that becomes $1 million. At 25, it's $2.5 million. That's the realistic math. But here's where it gets interesting. Building wealth isn't just about owning XRP. It's about how you own it. Everyone wants the reward. Few are willing to master the mindset, because becoming a millionaire through XRP isn't about luck. It's about discipline, strategy, and time. Markets reward patience. They punish emotion. When prices dip, weak hands panic. When prices surge, they sell too early. But the ones who build true wealth treat their investment like a business, not a bet. They understand position sizing, entry zones, and long-term vision. If you're serious about reaching 7 figures with XRP, you have to start thinking like that. XRP is not a meme token. It's an infrastructure asset tied to global finance. That means growth is gradual, then exponential. You're not aiming for a weekend 10 times return. You're aiming for a decade-defining wealth transfer, from the old financial system to the new one, from Swift to blockchain rails. So when we say 2030, that's your realistic horizon. This gives time for regulation, institutional adoption, and real-world utility to compound. That's when the serious revaluations happen. Not everyone can buy 100,000 XRP today. At $3, that's nearly $300,000. Not small money, but that doesn't mean you're out of the game. Wealth is built through consistent accumulation, not single moments. If you buy $500 worth of XRP every month for the next 5 years, you'd accumulate around 10,000 XRP, assuming prices average around $3. If XRP reaches $25 in 2030, that becomes $250,000. That's not billionaire money, but it's life-changing. Small, steady moves compounded over time create outcomes most people dream of but never act on. If your goal is to become a millionaire, protecting your capital is as important as growing it. That means cold storage. Your XRP should live in a hardware wallet, not on exchanges. Backups. Store seed phrases securely, offline. Security hygiene, use two-factor authentication, avoid phishing, stay disciplined. The number of investors who lose fortunes through poor security habits is staggering. Protecting your investment is the silent skill every millionaire has mastered. Money doesn't grow in isolation. It grows in context, and the macro environment between now and 2030 is unlike anything in modern history. Debt levels are exploding, global interest rates remain elevated, and central banks are experimenting with digital currencies, CBDCs, that could change how value moves entirely. Ripple has been in conversation with central banks across multiple continents, the Bank of England, the Monetary Authority of Singapore, and others. Those relationships matter because they position XRP at the center of digital settlement infrastructure. That's the big picture investors miss. XRP isn't competing with other coins. It's positioning itself to connect them all. Here's a hard truth. Becoming a millionaire with XRP won't happen by guessing tops and bottoms. It will happen by understanding cycles and using them to your advantage. The next cycle isn't just another hype run. It's the first institutionalized crypto bull market, with ETFs, regulatory clarity, and real use cases leading adoption. That means the people who've done their research, built conviction, and held through uncertainty will be the ones holding when the world finally catches up. And when that happens, the revaluation won't be gradual, it'll be sudden. That's how adoption curves work. Slowly, then all at once. Let's paint 3 potential paths to millionaire status with XRP by 2030. Scenario 1, you own 100,000 XRP. Price hits $10. You're officially a millionaire. This path assumes global adoption continues gradually, with Ripple becoming part of financial infrastructure, but not dominating it. Scenario 2, you accumulate 50,000 XRP at an average of $3. By 2030, price hits $20. That's $1 million. This path assumes XRP becomes a key liquidity bridge for CBDCs and tokenized assets. Scenario 3, you own 25,000 XRP. Price reaches $40 due to mass tokenization, ETF adoption, and global settlement dominance. That's $1 million. Possible? Yes, but it requires the world to fully embrace blockchain settlement. Each scenario tells the same story. You don't need millions of XRP to reach your goals. You need understanding, patience, and positioning. Most people think wealth comes from catching luck, but the truth is, it comes from being early and being right. When XRP was 25 cents, investors dismissed it. When it hit $3 in 2018, they called it overvalued. When it dropped back down, they gave up. And yet, here it is in 2025, legally cleared, technologically upgraded, and institutionally recognized. That's not hype, that's evolution. And those who stayed through the noise are already winning, even if price hasn't reflected it yet. Every XRP investor faces the same battle, the battle against boredom. When months go by and nothing happens, it feels like wasted time. But that's how compounding works, silently. The wealthy understand this better than anyone. They don't chase every candle. They hold positions that the market will eventually value correctly. And XRP fits that pattern perfectly. You don't become a millionaire by reacting. You become one by anticipating. Ripple's ecosystem expansion is accelerating. From cross-border payments to tokenized real estate, supply chain finance, and CBDCs, the XRP ledger is evolving into a universal financial layer. And now, with smart contracts through the XRPL EVM sidechain, developers can build DeFi, tokenized assets, and apps directly on top of it. That changes everything. It turns XRP from a transfer token into programmable liquidity, something that can power the next generation of finance. And that's why the $10 to $25 price zone by 2030 isn't fantasy. It's math backed by adoption curves. Here's the part that nobody talks about. Most investors won't hold until 2030. They'll sell early. They'll get impatient. They'll miss the exponential phase, the one where wealth actually happens. Because exponential growth looks boring before it explodes. If you can hold through that boredom, you already have the advantage. Time in the market beats timing the market, every single time. Let's run the math one more time. At $8 per XRP, you'd need 125,000 coins to reach 1 million. At $10, 100,000. At 15, 66,000. At 25, 40,000. At 50, 20,000. Even the lower ranges can create life-changing wealth. And remember, the average crypto millionaire didn't start rich. They started early, learned fast, and stayed consistent. That's the real secret. So, how much XRP do you need to become a millionaire? Mathematically, we've answered it. Strategically, we've explained it. But psychologically, that's up to you. Because the real key isn't just how much XRP you own, it's how much conviction you can hold. When the noise gets loud, when the charts go sideways, when the world doubts what you already understand, that's when future millionaires are made. If this gave you clarity, subscribe to Crypto Equation, where we turn complex markets into simple strategies and show you how to think like a real investor. Drop a comment below. How many XRP are you holding, and what's your 2030 target? Remember, the future doesn't reward hype. It rewards preparation. This is Crypto Equation, and I'll see you in the next one.